Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sara Jane. This is Gift of Healing TV. Welcome. Lovely to have you with us. I am delighted to welcome my guest, Chessie Roberts, this week. Chessie, bless her, she's already interviewed me. But I'm really looking forward to this because I know that what she's going to be sharing this evening will be of interest to me, and I hope it'll be of interest to you too. We're actually discussing, or Chessie's sharing, what to say when you talk to yourself and why it is important. And I know we've had a bit of a conversation just before we come on air about this, so I'm really looking forward to this. Let me introduce you to Chessie. Chessie Roberts is an innovative, we had fun with this earlier, sorry, innovative thinker and author who has created programs and classes to help people to regain their balance of body, mind, spirit. She has worked for over 20 years to assist others to find and grow their spiritual path. Reiki, meditation, and energy readings are part of what she offers. She has now added the wonderful world of essential oils to her toolkit. Chessie's radio station, Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts, and her book, Evolving into Self, From the Puppet to the Master, My Evolution from the Cradle to the Grid, can be found on Amazon.com, and her radio station, and I will give you the link to that channel before the end of the program. Chessie, remind me. Chessie, welcome to the program. It's wonderful to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here and so nice to see you again.
Thank you so much. Chessie, please, can we start the program? Share a little of your story and how you came to do what you do.
It was all quite from one perspective by accident, but now that I know how things really work, it was well planned out. I was just kind of bumbling around in my life until one day my doctor told me to get used to being old, fat, crippled, and on drugs. And he made me so angry that I decided I didn't want to play that anymore. So I came home, and after a lot of ranting and raving, guidance told me to calm down and listen to what my husband had said, and he had told me to stop being sick. So I thought, okay, fine, let's do that. So I determined right then and there to stop being sick. And when my chiropractor noticed that I was getting better rapidly and asked me what I was doing, I thought, gosh, I don't know. So he said, well, find out, and then I want you to tell everybody. To which I replied, really? They want to hear this? And he said, oh, yes. So I went and did some meditation and some digging around to find out what I was doing. And as it came to me, I started making notes because I just take notes. I'm one of those people. And next thing I knew, I had the Evolution of Self Journey into Body, Mind, Spirit Balance program. And what I didn't see coming and has evolved out of that is that it's a spiritual springboard for people who are just starting to get into the flow of waking up and looking around and seeing how they can evolve and grow themselves. And the self-talk that we're going to discuss today is a big portion of that program. So that was then, this is now.
Brilliant. And I must say, you're looking really well.
Thank you very much. You do too.
Thank you.
And I'm sure all of our viewers look absolutely amazing.
Well, absolutely. And I hope they're nice and relaxed and chilled.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
So, okay. So this, I know you've got some exercises that we're going to be doing during this, which I'm looking forward to. And I know I'm a great one, or have been a great one, for saying you are an idiot when I'm talking to myself. I've done something wrong. Okay, and who out there hasn't? Oh, you idiot! Oh, you fool! Oh, we're very good at doing that, and I'm assuming this is what we're talking about here.
This is exactly what we're talking about.
To yourself,
right? Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that you have an eavesdropper in your head. Your body, your brain is always listening to whatever it is you're saying to yourself, whether you verbalize it or not. Now, what a lot of people aren't cognizant of is the fact that your body responds chemically to all of these things. And when you say something like some of the things that you just spoke, and I will not repeat them, your body says, okay, poof, you're an idiot. And you can't think, you can't do things. So whatever you speak, your body says, sure, let's do that. So conversely, if you're speaking kindly to yourself, if you're speaking in an uplifting manner, your body says, okay, let's do that. And once you get in the habit of this conscious, aware attention to your thoughts and how they make you feel, and we'll talk more about that in a little while, you'll find that trying to go back to the old way just doesn't work.
So am I right in thinking that this is how affirmations work? So
Yeah.
I've got an affirmation I've been using for a long time, and I know I didn't believe it when I first started saying it, and it was, I am special, I love me. And it was just like, yeah, me special, right? But and I still use this every day. And it was a couple of years ago now, but even after that, I suddenly thought, actually, do you know what? I do believe that now. But I don't believe that I'm special in respect of I'm better than anybody else, because my acceptance of that is there is no one more or less special than me. Everyone is special. So why can't I be special?
Absolutely. One of the pitfalls to affirmations, I've had a lot of my clients and students say, oh, affirmations just don't work for me. It's because initially your subconscious says, oh, yeah, right. I don't believe that. And it won't, because you're so geared to thinking these other things. So you have this little tennis match going on in your head. I'm special. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. And you kind of have to beat that into submission. And one of the things that I tell my students to do is to start small. Go with something that you can actually feel good about. And here's your first exercise. Make a statement to yourself, one that is one of your go-to statements. I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, whatever that is. And I want you, when you say that, say it out loud. I'll give you just a heartbeat or two to do that. And afterwards, discover how your body feels. Okay, go. All right, how does your biology feel? You feel heavy, you feel ashamed, any of these things might be coming into it. Now turn that around. I'm awesome. Now say that one out loud. How do you feel? Now, you may not right away feel on top of the world, because you might have that little tennis match I was just talking about. You may feel like, oh, I'm not really awesome. I don't really believe it. But the more you say it, the more you'll believe it, because you're changing your brain chemistry. And this is very, very important. This is how this whole thing works. Because when you say, I am awesome, the awesome chemicals are released in your body. And they're tentative at first because you don't quite believe it. So you just get a little bit of these awesome chemicals. But the more you embrace that and the better you feel about that, the more squirts out into you. So that when you say it, you actually begin to feel it. And some people say, well, this is just tricking yourself. Well, until it isn't. And that's okay. It's how it works. You've tricked yourself all these years into thinking you're worthless. Why don't you turn it around and trick yourself into being worthy of everything? Because you are.
And that's just it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we talked about before the program, was sort of, it's almost as if we've been brought up not to think of ourselves. Everybody else has to come first. Therefore, we aren't worthy. You know, we aren't awesome. We aren't special. We aren't lovable. We aren't any of those things, because that's what we've almost been brought up to believe about ourselves. So
well, that's kind of the box we've built.
Yeah. And it is so much about getting ourselves out of that, out of other people, what other people's comments about us has made us feel. and helping us to feel much better about
I'm going to
ourselves.
stop you right there. That's a big one. These comments do not make you feel anything. You allow that
Yeah,
feeling. Ba-boom, you have to own your stuff, ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen. If you realize that you are allowing these negative thoughts, these ugly comments to live rent-free in your head, and you can evict them just by deciding to do so, that's going to turn around a whole lot quicker.
Absolutely. And there's no two ways about it. We don't have to believe what other people say, because actually the further down your healing journey you go, the more of this type of thing you listen to,
Absolutely.
you realize that anything that is said by other people is their stuff. And actually anything you say to other people, especially if it's negative, is your stuff. And hopefully there are a lot of us that are attempting to get out of the our stuff to support people, as we're doing here tonight, to get into that better place of being ourselves.
Once you embrace your true authentic self and actually realize what that is, and is it an easy road? Not really, but it's doable. I did it. I know Sara Jane's done it. I know the rest of you can do it if you consciously choose to make that change. It will happen. Will it happen overnight? Probably not. Will it happen in a year? Possibly. But it's only as difficult as you decide it is, and there's that thought process again. So one of the things that we run into is we still have these old things come up. Have you ever wondered why you seem to be in a loop? Why you think you've made changes and you think you've fixed your thoughts and your speech, but these other issues keep coming up? It's because you haven't done it so that it's consistent. If you're wonderful this 5 minutes, you're wonderful in the next 5 minutes. Just because Joe Blow from Kokomo said that you're not doesn't make it so. So you have to decide that this is a process. This is a lifestyle that you want to embrace. And I've got an exercise for that if you're ready for it. One of the things that I advocate very, very strongly is when you're starting this out, keep a little notebook beside you. And you'll start to realize that you've said something that isn't resonating properly with you because you're consciously aware of it. You'll start to feel yucky when you say it, especially when you're driving. Oh, that SOB, he cut me off in traffic, blah, 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 blah. And you realize, oh, that's not what I want to talk about. So make a little note of that. Don't try to fix it while you're driving. Don't try to fix it in the moment, but just jot it down so that you'll remember. Then at the end of the day, you'll look at this list and you'll go, that's really stinking thinking. I don't believe this is what I want to do. And then you go and you rephrase it into a more positive statement. Now, this is a very, very co-creative way to do this, because as you do this, and if you are smart, and I know all of you are, you'll ask your guidance to help you. They will poke you or smack you on the back of the head or something every time you do this, and they will actually help you turn these speech patterns around to more positive climates. So start your journal. Start your journal.
Brilliant. Yeah, I must admit, sort of, I certainly have been in that. If my language was ever going to be bad, it was in a car.
Yes, I kind of see a pattern there with a lot of people.
But I mean, there's still times when I get cut up where it's bless them. So
that's a good way to do it.
I do, but if it's something that I heard was that, okay, those people, and I think it came from reading Celestine prophecies. People who like to feed on your energy. So those people that do those things to wind you up, to push your buttons, the one thing they are wanting from you is that negative response. Whereas if you send them something way more positive actually they're not getting what they're looking for.
And it makes them stop and go, what? And then they think about it. So it's a cascade effect,
Yeah.
which is good for you. It's good for them.
Well,
shine that light.
but it's also good for the whole world, isn't it?
Oh,
Because
sure. Yeah.
the number of times sort of I've had clients that say, coming for sessions of Reiki or whatever, I know that nothing around me has changed, and everything's still happening the same, but it feels different. And that's all about your different perspective, your different reaction. And that's what you're talking about, isn't it? As far as that I'm seeing, it's about changing your reaction. Your actions are being different. You're changing that reaction to create a different outcome.
And you actually stop reacting. You turn the reaction into action. Reacting is allowing that person to pull your strings, back to the puppet thing that you mentioned in my book. And they'll do that. Push your buttons, pull your strings, do everything. But when you act from a strong, centered place, that's when you kind of slam that door shut and say, you're not going to treat me this way anymore. I have evolved past that. One of the other things that I like to caution people about is we say things without thinking about them. I have a list here. I'm going to go through it. People will say yes. Now, you wouldn't think that would be a negative thing, but depending on how you use it, it can be. Or, and that's just making noise to hear your head roar. Be quiet and listen to the other person. Really absorb what they're saying to you. The one that just really bothers me is, and it's the H word, and I only use it to teach this class anymore, but people say this all the time thinking they're funny. I hate when that happens. The H word, Dr. Emoto, in his book, Hidden Messages in Water, taught us that that word is very detrimental to our biology because it adversely affects our water. And we are a lot water, you and I, us humans. And you don't want to do that. The other one is, I could just kill, fill in the blank. Or it kills me when. The word like, oh my dear good gosh. Please stop saying like unless you're trying to compare something. It's just noise that you don't need. The other one that I run into a lot is people like to tell, they're talking to you, and in the middle of that, they say blah, blah, blah. Well, if you don't have anything more intelligible or intelligent or informative to say than that, just don't say it. The other one that comes across is And here's the big one that a lot of people look at me as if I've gone green when I tell them, stop apologizing. Sorry is a waste of energy unless you truly are in fault and you truly are sorry. If you say it just to deflect guilt or to get somebody to stop talking, again, you're wasting your energy, you're wasting theirs, you're just making noise to hear your head roar, and that does not serve you. So, if you aren't thinking about what you're listening to and you aren't being consciously aware of just what's really going on in your head, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Because that internal conversations will set limits on you that you're unaware of. So pay attention. The next time you say, I'm the type of person who just does not fill in the blank there, what are you doing? Think about what that does. You have decided to limit yourself in that area. Remember names, remember numbers, whatever it is. You turn that around by telling yourself, I remember everything. I remember everything that's important, however you want to say it. But you see how that cascades out.
Yeah, that makes just so much sense. And it is changing our thought process,
Mm-hmm.
in changing, letting go. That term, we use letting go so much, we really do, but it is letting go of the old way of thinking and
Mhm.
allowing ourselves and saying, yes, it is. Okay, this is where yes is really good.
Mhm.
Yes, it is time I honored, trusted, respected, loved myself.
Absolutely. And as you do this, you actually change your body chemistry. Now, people say, oh, not really, but I can vouch to you that this is true. I decided I was not going to be dependent on the narcotics that the doctors were giving me. And I'm not telling you to get off your medications. Don't email Sarah or me and yell at us about that. That's not what I'm advocating. What I'm advocating is that you do them, take them with conscious awareness so that you take in the good stuff and the bad stuff passes through. I made a conscious decision to change my thoughts about being confined to a wheelchair. I am no longer confined to the wheelchair. Yes, I still have to use it every once in a while if I have a long way to go or if I need a comfortable place to sit while I'm in the woods camping. And yes, I do camp. But it's because I trusted my inner self to get it when I started telling it all this good stuff. Because let's face it, I grew up thinking my name was Hey Stupid for years. And when I discovered that I had a real name and that wasn't it, everything started to change. It's the allowing and the letting go and the forgiving. That's another big, important aspect of this that you and I had not touched on yet, Sarah. But when we can forgive ourselves for thinking like this, and here's the biggie, forgive those that we feel are responsible for the way we think about things, and let go of that. Uh, I'm going to call it a grinding point. My mother said blah, 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 and there it is. But that's my fill in the blank here. You stop and realize that that was her stuff. That was her perception of the incident at the time, and you don't have to carry that with you. It's okay to put down that burden. It's okay to put it on the rubbish heap and let it go. It's okay to not wallow in that anymore.
Absolutely. And it's okay to say no.
Absolutely.
No.
That's one of the most positive words we can use.
Ah, bless you. Bless you for that. Because actually, just recently, it really had occurred to me that when you hear no from somebody, they are actually probably doing you a huge favor. And it was only last couple of months. No, N-O, new opportunities.
Oh, I like that.
I could, the minute I read it, it was, I love it. No isn't about saying no as we've perceived it to be. No is about saying, actually, it's not for me, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. Just go and find somebody else or something else, or there's something better. And there's a saying, isn't there? God gives three answers. Yes, not now. I've got something better for you.
Mm-hmm. The other thing about that is when you can say no within the confines of what serves you best. You first. This is not selfish. This is not derogatory. This is, if it doesn't resonate with you, if it doesn't feel like it's to your highest good and best outcome, then don't do it, for heaven's sake. If you feel like you're overextended, you can say, no, I can't do that right now. And you can do that without guilt or shame or anything else. It's perfectly all right. Now, will other people see it that way? Eventually, yes. They may not at first, but there again, that's their stuff, not yours.
Absolutely. And I sort of told Chessie just before the program, just recently, it was thoughts. It didn't happen. It was just thoughts. And somebody asked you to do something or to help them or whatever, and your reaction was, actually, no, that doesn't feel right to me. And so you say no. And this is where this word selfish tends to come in. When
Mm-hmm.
somebody says no, it's usually the person who's asked that turns around and says, you're being selfish. And it was the immediate thought that came into my head. The only person who's being selfish is the one who's using that word, not you for saying no. When you honor yourself, when you are true to yourself, you're honoring and being true to them as well.
Absolutely. If you can't do something with your full heart and your full energy, you aren't giving the best that you can give. And if it's not resonating with you, then you're in essence lying about the whole thing, and that's never good for anybody. I want to point out a few places these negative things come from. Yes, we're programmed from birth. That's a given. But the other places that they come from are what you're watching on the telly. What are you looking at? Just because they tell you it's a comedy doesn't mean that it's truly funny. It doesn't mean that it isn't ugly. Pay attention to what's actually coming into your ears, into your eyes. Music is another one. Now, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm very, very enamored of music. I love it. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's healing. It's uplifting. But if it does not resonate with you, if it makes you feel anxious or angry, then it's not what you should be listening to. The other place that comes from are adverts, either on television, radio, what you read. Those people in the advertising agency, I'm not putting anybody down now, I'm just stating a fact. They have studied for years as to what guilts you and subverts you into buying something that you don't either really want or need. And they use rhythm, color, voice tonality, and words to do this. Now, as you're learning to clean up your own thought process and your own words, you start seeing these little trip-ups in other places. Case in point, I saw an ad the other day for a toy that teaches infants how to, are you ready? Roll over, sit up, stand, and walk. How many babies do you know have to be taught to do that? It's innate in our DNA. It's how we progress. It's how we grow. But if you listen to this ad, moms and dads, you have to have this particular toy so that your child learns these things. Your child would learn them if they were in a jungle living in a box. You don't need the toy. But because they're telling these young parents that they do, that toy is going to fly off the shelves because they don't want their child to be held back. So this is sign language. Wake up and pay attention. That's one of my favorite things to teach. Pay attention to what's going on in your head and what's coming into your ears and your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And turn the news off.
I haven't watched the news for years. In a lot of cases, I have no idea what's going on in the world. I occasionally see little bits on the internet, and it's just like, I have no idea. Disasters happen, and I just don't know. It's not that I don't want to know, but there's too much negative. And that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's keeping the negative, because everything news-based, occasionally they will have a good news story at the end of the news, and I'm not waiting for that.
Another thing that just popped in, I'm looking at my notes here, is the energies around you. Now, people say, oh, energy doesn't affect you, but I promise you they do. I was working on one of my articles, and there was a movie coming on, and I had decided that I had earned a movie that day, and I wanted to take a break and watch the movie. So I was going to write on my article till the movie came on. So I turned the television on, and I set the timer and all that so that it would let me know when the movie was on, and I muted it, and I went back to my article. Well, after a few minutes, I started to feel angry, and I was just getting angrier by the minute, and I don't usually do that, not without intense provocation. So because I'm consciously aware of things happening within as well as without, I stopped writing, and I thought, okay, what's going on? Why am I so angry? And my first thought was to look up at the television. And there, on telly, was a news broadcast about the war. And it was an ugly one. They were showing videos of all sorts of mean, nasty, ugly, hateful things. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what it is. I turned off the television and the anger just vanished. And I thought, wow, that's incredible. And you would have thought I learned my lesson, but I didn't. 2 weeks later, I did the same thing. Now, this is going to shock you, because when I looked up to see what was on television, expecting another news broadcast, it was a prayer service. And I'm thinking, prayers? What's going on? So I unmuted, and they were praying, and this is really going to twerk your little minds there, but they were praying in a negative vein. They were asking for healing, but they were asking it in a negative way. And so that leads me to another point, is when you are asking for help for somebody, remember that whatever their path is their path. You can't just jump out and change their path. You can ask for guidance to uplift them and help them, whatever the situation is, or ask them for help to their highest good and best outcome. But trying to fix it doesn't work very well. So that's one I really wanted to get in, because it snuck up on me, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I want everybody to know.
And it doesn't matter that it was muted. And I know this from my own experience. When I'm working with the sound energy, I've actually had a microphone fail for working with people over the internet. I still did it, and they still felt it. And so that's what happens. Sound energy is so powerful that
It is.
you don't actually have to hear anything. It is about feeling it. And I think but this also goes to our thoughts, because just because they aren't spoken doesn't mean they don't affect us and affect other people.
Well, everything is energy.
Yeah.
So if you're radiating anger energy, my mother used to tell me when I was younger, she says, you don't have to tell anybody you're mad. They can see it 3 miles away. Well, other people can feel that. And as we raise our energies and raise our frequencies and become more consciously aware, we feel more and more of everything. So there's that conscious awareness again. That's okay. Where is this nastiness coming from? Oh, that lady over there just stubbed her toe and she's hopping around cussing a blue streak. Well, you can shield against that. You have to be consciously aware of it, though. But the more you realize what's really going on, the better you are able to handle it.
Yeah. But I mean, I suppose I know I'm loving this conversation. I really am. But it obviously, what we've said is what to say when you talk to yourself, and why it is important. So if we come, I think a lot of what we're saying hopefully is helping people realize that it is important. We can't control what other people say to us, maybe, but actually, as our reactions change, as our actions change, as our thought processes ourselves change, actually we can affect others. It's not about trying to control others. We can't. It is about improving our surroundings for ourselves, and the positive vibrations rather than the negative ones.
Absolutely. And I will warn you that as you do this, the people who don't resonate with your positivity will leave your sphere of influence. And this is not a bad thing. This is very helpful. I had one of my students tell me she couldn't work with me anymore. And I said, why? She said, you're just too positive. I can't stand it. So I said, well, okay, have a good life. Some other things, if we've got a minute, I can give them a few. Some other things that you can can do to help yourself is listen to upbeat, positive lyrics, music. Listen to things in a major key with excited speech. It lifts you up. It pumps you up. Johnny, oh gosh, his name eludes me, but it's I can see clearly now. is one of those songs. It just picks you right up. You can't be in a bad mood and still listen to that. If the song's in a minor key and the speech is somber, it'll pull you down. So pay attention to how you feel when you listen or watch. Do things that help you believe in yourself. Chant things like, I can do this, and get reinforcement from others. I was leading a workshop not too long ago, and several of the people in the workshop were at loggerheads with one another. This one wanted to control, that one wanted to control, this one wanted to dominate, that one wanted to. So what I did was I had everybody get in a circle back to back and chant, I can do this with help from others. I can do this with help from others. And after we'd done that a while, I changed it to, we can do this together. We can do this. And by the end of the chant, I had a very viable team of people who were willing to listen. They were willing to uplift others, and they were willing to take suggestions from others. So this is that cascade that Sara was just talking about. It's how you change your perceptions, how you change your energetic signature, and it changes that of those around you. Another one is to tell yourself, when you're trying to do something, you're having trouble with it. Nobody knows what that's like, I'm sure. You can tell yourself, heart and mind work together. Once you get your heart and mind, there's actually an energetic electric connection between your heart and your mind. I'm not talking about your brain now, I'm talking about your mind. And when your heart and your mind work together, you're focused, you're determined, you're in the moment, and things happen for you. And there's one other, but it'll take a little while. I don't know if we have time or not.
How long do you think it'll take?
Well, I can give them the gist of it, and then everybody can do it at their own leisure. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. It's called a 0-point trigger. Now, a 0 point means there's nothing there, and there's everything there. The potential for it is there, and you can tip it one way or the other. You can either go from 0 point to angry, 0 point to happy, all right, 0 point to weak, 0 point to strong. So what I did was I set myself what I call a 0 point trigger. And what I did was I got a chime, and you can use anything that's pleasing to you. I was using this little chime right here. I hope you can see that. And I would strike the chime, and I would set the trigger. And the trigger should be anything you can do quickly. Now, what I do is I push these two fingers together. All right. Now, how do you do that? Find something you know is going to spin you up. A movie, a song, something that's going to excite your emotions. They don't have to be bad emotions, anger or anything. They don't have to be fear. They can be anything, happy like you want to cry, anything like that. Now, put your movie in and find the place inside yourself where you don't feel anything. Now, this is a good place to be because this is where you have that huge potential for absolutely everything. Okay? Find that quiet place, that peaceful place, that 0 point place where everything's possible. And then start your movie. Have your chime really close by and pay close attention. And when you feel your emotions begin to be affected by the movie, pause the movie, hit the chime, and set your trigger and go back to that quiet place. Okay? When you feel your emotions begin to take effect or begin to grow, pause the movie, hit the chime, set your trigger. As you do this, every time you do that, you are reinforcing that quiet place, that place of total potentiality that you can go to at any time. I use this 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. I use it before I meditate. I use it before I teach a class. I used it before this show. I've used it twice during the show so that I stay on topic, not because I was getting upset or anything, it's just I wanted to give you all the best information to your highest good and best outcome. before a meeting, especially if it's with someone of dubious quality, character, however you want to look at it. And it's one of the most useful things you will ever do. So I think that's my list of exercises that you all can do.
Oh, that's brilliant. It really is. So really what you're saying is you're stepping into that place of, I suppose you're talking about total potential.
Absolutely.
Everything and nothing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And of having no attachment to any form of outcome, being no preconceived whatever's going to happen.
No expectation.
No expectation. Not
Mm-hmm.
trying to, what are they going to say? How am I going to answer that? Etc. Etc. You're putting yourself into that place of what will be, will be.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes you a better listener, believe it or not, because if you aren't formulating what you're going to say next, and you're listening with your total self, and you're completely in that place of whatever happens, happens, you hear more things than you would if you weren't there.
Yeah.
You think clearer, you act, you don't react. It's just a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
And it's also realizing that as much as you're listening to something, and I think we're all very good at this, it's, oh, they've said, I wouldn't mind putting a comment in there. But it's like, if you like, it's at least one Native American tribe, isn't it? Is it the speaking stick?
Uh-huh.
And you cannot speak unless you are the one holding the speaking stick. And you have to wait. Therefore, you have to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to your turn, the most important things for you to say will be those things that are left in your mind. The
Absolutely.
rest are unimportant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yes.
So brilliant, folks. I hope that's helped. Chessie, I am going to actually, if I do that now, this is the link to Chessie's program, Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts, and I can't remember whether I've put it on the website under the About Us page yet, but you'll see Chessie's bio up on there. And if I haven't got it up, I will make sure that's up tomorrow morning, because it's evening here in the UK, folks. I know it's early afternoon with Chessie in America. That's the joy of working with everybody all over the world.
I know, I love that.
So, and I will make sure it's under the YouTube video tomorrow as well, once that's up. And for those of you watching this via the YouTube video, or those of you who have been with us live, because I know you've all been very quiet, but that's fine. I know we've had you there, and thank you for being with us. If you thought, actually, I want to go back to those, the YouTube video is great. Don't get me wrong, I love the replays, but it's solid. You can't stop it and start it in different places. The YouTube video is a brilliant place to go, because you can find what you're looking for, you can make notes of the times, and you can go back to them, and you can go back to that spot. So you haven't got to listen to the whole program again if you don't want to. Although I know we've shared a lot here that I hope will help you all. Chessie, have you got any final little comment or something that you would like to share with people before we close the program down?
Watch out for little things like what if. What if is one of those things that just kind of doesn't go anywhere. You know, some will, some won't, so what? That sort of thing. So forgive yourself, allow yourself to grow, be gentle with yourself, and get out there and shine, shine, shine.
Absolutely, thank you. And that's what I hope you will do. It is for all of us to go out there and shine. We have a light. Get it out from under that bushel and let it shine. And it was given to me in a message from one of the dragons. You are a gift to this world. I know it, and I know you'll find it written in numerous places, but it was actually reiterated to me yesterday. You are a gift. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. You are a gift to the world. You have a gift to bring. You are special. You are essential. Don't ever doubt it. And keep those words in your head rather than the other ones.
I agree completely. And I just want to say really quickly, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to your viewers. And it's been wonderful sharing this time with you. I really appreciate being
Oh,
here.
thank you so much, Chessie. It's been wonderful having you here. Next week, folks, we are being joined by Jessica Woods, who is going to be sharing Free Falling to Freedom. Jessica is actually the founder of Free Fall Therapy, and so I hope that you will be able to join us for that. And I look forward, and she's been on a couple of times sharing meditations and exercises, but she's actually coming on to talk about the technique itself. So, and I believe she's got a couple of people who've actually worked with her, who are going to be able to share their experiences of it. So not quite 100% certain how it's going to go next week, but it'll be what it is, as these programs always are. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Hope we'll see you again next week in future programs. Chessie, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Love, peace, and light. Namaste.